All right, another episode of Stand Tall, January 10th, 2024. Verse 13 out of chapter 6 of The Art of War, starting us out. By discovering the enemy's dispositions and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated while the enemies must be divided. That's interesting. What that means to me is that while we kind of discover the enemy's dispositions, when we put ourselves and we start getting to know somebody, getting to know one of our employees, the enemy doesn't have to be the enemy. Um, the enemy, can be a rival business, but it can also mean our emotions. It can mean our employees. It can mean our past selves, our future selves, you know, our inner monologue. But like while we get to know our enemy's dispositions, we remain invisible. We don't let them know what our intentions are. Let's see what the alternate translation has to say. Let's see. Master Son says, therefore, when you induce others to construct a formation while you yourself are formless, then you are concentrated while the opponent is divided. So that's like quite different from the regular one. That's why I kind of hesitated for a second. The only response to this is by Zhang Yu. What is orthodox to you, make opponents see as unorthodox. What is unorthodox to you, make them see as orthodox. This is inducing others to construct a formation. To be able to use the unorthodox as orthodox and use the orthodox as unorthodox, changing in a whirl, making yourself unfathomable to opponents is being formless. Once the opponent's formation is seen, you then mass your troops against it. Since your form is not revealed, the opponent will surely divide up his forces for security. So this one is more of like when you induce others to construct. So like when you appear in a certain way that they feel they have to shore up their defenses. And saying you is calling us back to the orthodox versus the unorthodox conversation, which is a very interesting one. So let's keep that in mind. I'd like to actually hear what your thoughts are on it down in the comments below. Um, and we're going to go over to the Daily Stoic now by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, and we're going to go over to January 10th. If you want to be steady, the essence of good is a certain kind of reasoned choice, just as the essence of evil is another kind. What about externals then? They are only the raw material for our reasoned choice, which finds its own good or evil in working with them. How will it find the good? Not by marveling at the material. For if judgments about the material are straight, that makes our choices good. But if those judgments are twisted, our choices turn bad. Epictetus Discourses 1.29, 1 to 3. Right? So, like the material, the external, the enemy, it's the judgments about the enemy, about our employees, about our emotions, about our past selves, about our future selves. It's those judgments that make the choices good or bad. Okay? If the judgments are twisted, they're bad. So that's why it's important to see reality for what it is. It's very hard to see reality for what it is because a lot of us live in denial. It's not just a river in Egypt. It's facing yourself in the mirror every day, accepting your faults, and working to overcome those one little bit at a time, 1% a day, 3% a day, little bits at a time. You just overcome, overcome, overcome. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You got to do the reps. You got to put in the work. You got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep doing, keep doing, keep doing. Keep lifting the weights. Keep denying the cookie. Keep denying the donut, right? Yes, like you can have cookies and donuts. Just don't overeat. It's just like these little things of how to be better every single day. You've got to do the work. You've got to do the boring stuff. You've got to organize your files on your computer. You've got to organize your employee files in real life. You have to do these things that nobody wants to do. They're not fun, but like when you do them and you repeat them and you put in a process, you will become successful. And so your judgments of the past or the future are going to be good or bad depending on what you enact, right? While Sun Tzu is saying, observe the enemy while being formless, right? Don't give away what you are. Just observe the enemy and learn. That's what you need to do as well here when you're making judgments. So let's see what the reflection says. The Stoics seek steadiness, stability, and tranquility, traits most of us aspire to but seem to experience only fleetingly. How do they accomplish this elusive goal? How does one embody eustathia, the word Aryan, the word Aryan used to describe this teaching of Epictetus? Sorry, I butchered that. Well, it's not luck. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. I used Bitcoin money that I earned when I bought in at $8,000 and sold at 46 to put a down payment on a house. That was all luck. No, it wasn't. I made a decision. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I read a lot of articles, and I made a decision to invest in this. I made a decision to put my stimulus check in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, and it paid off. It wasn't on a whim. It wasn't lucky. It just was a reasoned decision to make, and it paid off. But all investments are like that. Everything is like that, right? Luck. It's not by eliminating outside influences or running away to quiet and solitude. Okay, but like eliminating internal influences, removing the things from your life that make it easier to do the other things. People always get so stuck on working on their weaknesses or trying to make something better or being better here, being better there. But like, what are some things that you can eliminate and free up more time? Not eliminating the outside influences, but eliminating what's within yourself and your habits. Instead, it's about filtering the outside world through the straightener of our judgment, right? The mirror that we talked about. That's what our reason can do. It can take the crooked, confusing, and overwhelming nature of external events and make them orderly. You can yes, chaos. Bring order to chaos. However, if our judgments are crooked because we don't use reason, then everything that follows will be crooked, and we will lose our ability to steady ourselves in the chaos and the rush of life. And so many people do. So many people get lost in the chaos and the rush of life, and they just lose control, and they start blaming everything else, and they don't regain that control, that steadiness, that stability that brings the tranquility. If you want to be steady, if you want clarity, proper judgment is the best way. Proper judgment is the best way. How do we do that? We take a step back and we observe. Just like Sun Tzu is saying, we observe the enemy. Let's go over here. By discovering the enemy's disposition and remaining invisible ourselves. Remaining invisible in the Stoic version, when Sun Tzu says remain invisible ourselves, I think that means like remain tranquil, right? Bring yourself into a place where you can make the right judgment call. And that way you can keep standing tall.